If you've been riding long enough, if you've been competing as an equestrian for even more than a year, then I'm sure one of the things you've run into at this point is the whole experience of being afraid. Now, if you haven't, I'm sure there's other people that train with you, that train with your trainer, who've lost skills, who've lost their ability to compete, to ride to their capability. Really common part of the sport, really important part of the sport to learn to master. And it reminds me of an equestrian I worked with a while ago. Her name was Julia. She was about 17 and a very talented rider, and actually very successful rider for the first few years that she competed. And then she had a bad fall. And she actually didn't get hurt, but it was a close call. And she almost got kicked. Her horse's hooves just went over her head. And ever since that experience, she wasn't the same rider. She was overcome with fear whenever she'd try to jump. She kind of replayed that movie over and over again in her head. And she was getting ready to quit. She was that frustrated. Her parents were trying to be helpful. They felt badly. Her trainer was trying to be helpful but wasn't really helpful, was more impatient that she shouldn't be afraid. But let me tell you something right now. If you ride, there's nothing wrong with you if you're afraid. There's nothing wrong with you if you find that you can't get yourself to do like skills or your technique is off because of fear. That's normal. I've worked with hundreds of riders before. This is something that always comes up. But what was happening for Julia is that this was really stifling her love of the sport. It was killing her confidence. And she was close to quitting. So we started working one-on-one. And one of the things I helped her do was learn to kind of notice when she was getting nervous, when her nervous system was getting what we call activated, revved up, and teaching her, and again, this is all pre-ride, and then teaching her how to calm herself down, how to get her nervous system to settle. And along with that, really teaching her what she should be focusing on. Because when you ride well, you're not focusing on your thoughts, you're not focusing on what could happen, and you're not focusing on outcome, your expectations. You're focusing on feel and your connection to the horse. You know, equestrians who are successful ride with this very close connection to their horse. They don't think about what they're doing. They stay kind of in their body. And Julia had forgotten how to do that because she was so nervous. And with a little bit of work, we helped her calm her system down and refocus herself so that she was able to stay paying attention to the right things and continue excelling in her sport and get back to excelling, really. Now, this is such a common problem. I run into this all the time, that over the years I've developed some training material for equestrians to help them learn to manage fear, settle themselves when they're in trouble, and learn to focus and control their concentration both before and during their ride. So whether you do what Julia did, which would be to work a little bit one-on-one with me, or to use some of my training workbooks and audios, and I'm certainly happy to talk to you about what would make the most sense for you. You can always call or email me. What I do know is this: if you have dreams in this sport, if you want to go as far as possible, if you want to develop the mind of a champion and learn to master fear, you have to systematically do some work on the mental side of your riding.